Hello, Internet, and welcome back to Antiheroes Anonymous, or welcome for the first time if it's your first time joining us. I'm Ethan, and I'm the Dungeon Master of this 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons show. We are back at it after a long time with our regularly scheduled campaign. What comes next after the first spiel? I have some announcements and a recap, but before I get into any of that, Nick, would you please kick off some character introductions?
Sure. Hi, I'm Nick. I play Embers of White Ash, Sun Soul Tabaxi Monk.
Hi, I'm Kay, and I play Lady Elwyn Amalos, who is a Arctic Circle druid, who's an elf also. That's a thing I forgot to say.
Who comes after Kay?
I don't remember. It's Tuppence.
It's Tuppence.
I thought it was okay. This is Melissa, and I do play Tuppence, and she is a pixie bard, College of Glamour.
Hi, I'm Zach, and I play Rook, who is a changeling artificer.
Okay, those announcements. As I mentioned, we premiere our episodes on YouTube every Monday at 7 p.m. Pacific time. Throughout the show, we use a variety of custom items, as well as a custom pixie lineage. The character portraits, which you'll see pretty much all over the layout, were drawn by an artist named Krista Porter, who goes by @KristaPorter with 2 R's on Twitter. If you need a refresher on anything that's going on in this campaign, we have a campaign wiki at World Anvil. We also recently released a recap video of the first season that just kind of details everything that happened in this campaign so far. So that's also a good way to get caught up. Other than that, you can check the video description for links and information about everything I just mentioned and more, including some resources for Black Lives Matter and for Stop Asian Hate. And finally, you can follow us on Twitter at Antiheroes Anon. And we just hope you enjoy the show, share with your friends, and come back to watch some more. So before I dive into that recap I mentioned earlier, let's go ahead and roll our intro video. And welcome back. The Silver Seekers, which is the name of the party, were hired by an Imperial warden named Torin Brenwarham to foil a plot by the Dragontooth Brotherhood, in which the Brotherhood was attempting to steal a clutch of dragon eggs. The plot's ringleader, or one of the ringleaders, a Yuan-Ti woman named Kashura, escaped by magical means just after delivering an ominous warning that the League of Terrors, some organization claiming to be the horrors that haunt the past of this world. I lost where I was going with that sentence. Anyways, proclaiming, ominous warning that the League of Terrors are a thing. Yes. The Silver Seekers now are on their way north towards the town city of Amberhearth, joined by several friends and allies they met along the way. In order to see their newly acquired keep. Little do they realize, however, that a high price placed on one of their heads has drawn the attention of some bounty hunters. And that's pretty much where we ended off the first season. So we are going to pick up just right there. The group of you, after spending quite a bit of time in Port Horizon Shroud, the city on the southernmost tip of the Stratian Empire, are setting out northward along the road that exits out of the Thrims Gate of the city. It's a kind of warm spring day. You know, the sun is glistening off of melting snow. And there are lots of travelers coming and going from the Thrims Gate as well. So you're kind of, you and your covered wagon have to push out through a crowd of several people. But once you get onto the open road, it quickly clears up. And yeah, you begin to make your way northward, kind of starting to cross the tundra and the countryside that makes up the state of Sergil that you've found yourselves in for the first part of your journey together. And, you know, in your first day, you pass through several little, you know, towns and villages where you see groups of dwarves and halflings and humans and dragonborn and genasi, kind of all going about their business. But before the end of the first day, you're kind of on a stretch of road that is really just out in the countryside. There's woods on both sides, these big pine trees, you know, snow is kind of falling off of them with as it melts. And for the first time in the journey, you don't really see anyone in front of you or behind you. And it seems as if you're alone on the road. The four of you and your two traveling companions, the alehouse drake Malt, this kind of chubby, cream-colored, grumpy little drake who has befriended Tuppence, and your loud, boisterous traveling companion, Torin Brenwarm, the white dragonborn, who for much of the journey thus far has insisted on sitting up at the front of the wagon and kind of like, if not holding the reins, at least, you know, pretending to sort of take charge of the situation up there. How are the group of you spending your first day on the road? What's the situation look like as we kind of observe the covered wagon?
So, just a question, maybe some clarification. For the wagon, we were saying that most of us had to walk outside. Is that right? We can't.
Oh,
sit inside.
that would have been if you got a cart. You guys were able to
okay.
get a covered wagon, so all of you can ride inside. But one person kind of has to sit up front and drive it. At least one person. There's a bench there that could sit. Two people could probably sit there side by side. You know, three if one of those is Tuppence.
Mm-hmm. And then, is it pretty crowded inside the wagon if we're all inside there, or is it spacious? Like we could have some stuff, like our belongings and things like that.
Yeah, you've got room for like all your backpacks and things, and there's also room for anything you might pick up on your journey. So at the moment, no, it's not terribly crowded in there.
Okay.
Yeah. Especially because I don't think Ember's spending a lot of time in the wagon. Like as I recall, our pace is not too different than it would have been if we were walking. We just get you know, the luxury of not having to walk. But I think Embers is walking all the time, so that takes off a lot of the crowdedness that might be in the wagon.
So does Embers stick sort of in front of the wagon, or does she kind of trail behind or stay to the side?
Stay to the side.
Okay. And since it's a nice spring day and it's kind of sunny, you could have the cover off the wagon if you wanted. It comes off pretty easily, but I'll leave that up to you.
No.
No,
shade
okay,
Yeah, I
the
think
wagon is covered for
two
shade.
people with sensitive eyes. I think we need the
Yeah.
cover during the daytime. when
No,
it's
thank you.
sunny. Yeah, no, thank you.
Especially because, like, I think that Embers also wants to have an eye outside the wagon, so she's spending a lot of time just kind of keeping a general watch.
And I think
Do you want-
Tuppence would keep pestering everybody to say, "Oh, come on, let me try to lead the wagon. Come on, I can talk to the horses. Come on."
So you're up with Torin trying to get him to let you lead the wagon. Are your arms even big enough to hold the reins? If you want to give it a try, and he kind of offers you the reins.
She's really strong.
I smack him with my mage hand and I take it from him.
It looks a little affronted, but yeah, he kind of scoots over so that you can take
Or
the
just
center
his-
spot of the chair.
Right.
You make an animal handling check.
Oh boy.
We are starting out strong.
Oh boy, that's not
We
good.
put the muscle up front, so yeah, we're
This is
real
the first
strong.
roll of season 2.
It is.
That's a 14.
A
Heck yeah.
14.
Not bad.
Yeah, especially since you can kind of verbally communicate to the animals in a way that they understand, whether that's just because of the pitch you speak at, who knows. You manage to keep the horses going on track. And even when you come to forks in the road or whatever, you're able to easily guide the horses to the correct path. You encounter a place where like snowfall has made a tree go down over the road, and it's kind of a complicated maneuver to get the wagon around it, but you navigate it perfectly, kind of coaching the horses through it. Yeah, as far as the driving goes, things seem to be going smoothly. And Torin kind of just looks there kind of appraising at you and says, very impressive, very impressive. You're a natural. I should not have doubted you.
Tuffy's shaking her head saying, why does everybody say that to me? I hear that a lot.
And
But
Nick,
thanks,
you said
you can have it back. That was fun.
okay. Yeah, he takes it back kind of after you navigate around the fallen tree.
So I think on the
Nick,
first...
you said Embers was kind of keeping a lookout. Do you want to make a perception check?
Sure. Let's see, that's a 10 plus. I guess it's just a 15.
What exactly are you looking for? Just anything?
Yeah, anything approaching.
As far as you can see, down the road and back the way you came, at least for the moment, it seems like you were the only travelers on the road. And as you kind of attune your ears to the forest around you, things are pretty quiet. You can hear like birds chirping, and you occasionally see small animals moving among the foliage, but you don't sense like any large threats or any travelers coming down the road, at least for the moment. So everything seems pretty peaceful. What are Rook and Elwyn up to?
So for the first day, Rook is spending a lot of time unpacking out of his infused bag of holding and just placing and stacking books and other belongings that were in there. So that's probably what he's doing most of the day. And then like when he unpacks a book, he like starts reading. He's like, oh yeah, and he's like looking through some of the books that he bought in Port Horizon Shroud.
We all know how unpacking goes.
So I think that's probably the majority of the first traveling day is I'm just like unpacking books. Lots of books.
Bookish Rook.
And Rook, you have, does your little friend help you out with that? What's Soltem up to?
He's probably just, I give him the day off. He's pretty curious, so he probably like flies around, checks out what's going up.
Who is Soltem? Let's
I
go
was
ahead
hoping
and
Zach would
introduce
describe.
Soltem to the
We don't need to tell anyone
audience.
that. It's okay. It can be a secret.
It's
So
not a
Soltem,
secret.
Soltem was created during the downtime. He is a construct, homunculus from the Artificer magical infusions, and he is a silver pocket watch that has, a little propeller at the top and little dangly arms and legs when he activates, and he has a slight greenish like glow because Rook used an emerald as his heart.
Yeah, so this pocket watch homunculus just kind of hovers near Rook as you lay back with one of the books. It kind of looks curiously over that.
Yeah, and maybe like buzzes around to like around where Embers is, and then around to where Tuppence is, and kind of just like takes stock of the situation.
You said he was made with an emerald?
Yeah.
Okay. Well.
Sits up there with Tuppence, like watching the horses.
So then what's Elwyn doing?
Yeah, so Elwyn's super excited to be on the road. So even though she probably spends most of her time inside the wagon, she's like peeking out and looking and just taking in the scenery. She's taking care of the messenger drake egg that they got in Port Horizon Shroud, and reading and keeping Rook company, that kind of thing.
Yeah, so the messenger drake egg, it needs to be kept pretty warm, and it's still, I mean, despite the fact that it's kind of a nice sunny day, it's still a little bit chilly. There's still a bit of a chill wind, so you probably have to wrap it up in something or other and kind of
I've
keep it
got
close
my
to your
big
body as
winter
much as
coat. I
possible.
probably have it like in a sling under my cloak next to my body to keep it warm. Something like
Yeah,
that.
and as you kind of read through, were you reading through the book about its care?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. As you read through it, you kind of you're reading the section about, you know, how to care for an egg and like how long to expect it will be in its egg, and you gather that basically until the thing hatches, all you need to do is really keep it warm, and it will probably be in its egg, you know, somewhere between 3 and 6 weeks. Like, not helpfully, you don't really know how far along it was when you bought it from the Station messenger service. But that's probably about what you can expect, is that it will be in there for a little while. So you're going to need to keep it warm for some time.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I can do that. Easy peasy. And yeah, just making small talk with Torrid and whoever else pops into the wagon during the day.
Does anyone like relieve Torin, or does he pretty much drive the cart all day, other than the
I-
brief
I
stint
could
where Tubby
offer.
did?
I could do it.
Once the sun goes down. Yeah. I feel like between Torin and Elwyn and Rook, we're probably the ones that are, well, and Tuppence now too, apparently is also capable. So I feel like we could take it in shifts.
Just a little chunk of time.
And yeah, there's probably a pretty healthy rotation of, you know, who's in the wagon. Torin also spends some time walking outside of the wagon. He also, you see him basically trying to turn the trek into a training routine. So at certain points, he'll like sprint ahead and then rest while the wagon catches up, and then like sprint ahead and rest while the wagon catches up, doing all of this in his big heavy armor. And clanking as he goes the entire way. So the first day comes to a close pretty restfully. What do you guys do when you, you know, stop traveling for the night? What's the protocol that you guys kind of settle into?
Well, we didn't discuss our food situation with everybody.
Oh, well, I've got that taken care of. I can make these. I do a little wispy. Hold on, let me check the spell. Are there somatic components to the spell? I didn't check.
The spell feed
is,
allies? I don't think
yes.
there's. Oh, okay.
The spell feed allies. Is that
Yeah.
what you said?
That's what I said.
No, so I like raise my hand and do a little like I'm sprinkling sugar or something like in baking, and it's like little snowflakes dripping from my fingers, and in the palm of my hand as the snowflakes land, there are these little like light blue berries that form 10 or one for each of us, and I basically hand them out. So here you go.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Torin holds it between like two claws, kind of dangling it in front of his eyes.
Now I know it doesn't look like much, but just trust.
Well, it
me
doesn't
on
look
this one,
like
all right.
like anything.
Just
He like
taste it.
grabs a handful of snow. I might as well eat.
Well, you could eat the snow too, I'm sure, but just try the berry, please.
Yeah, and he kind of cautiously takes a bite. Oh, okay. I see exactly what you mean. Actually, I feel very. How did you do that? I feel completely refreshed.
One of the tricks of the trade. I'm glad you like it.
Interesting.
Go on, everyone eat.
Yeah. Rick will eat his. And...
Your hands were clean, right, when you made these?
Of course.
Tuppence will only take a little small bite.
Ember's just like
Okay.
flicks hers up into the air and catches it in her mouth. Chomps it down.
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know you were such a good cook. This is great. Thank
You
you.
should try me when I'm in a real kitchen.
I'll take you up on that when we get to our new place.
I know, I'm so
Oh, I'm
excited.
so it's gonna be so good.
Yeah.
I love saying that. Our own place. It's
You're
so
muted,
long.
Ethan.
There we go.
Thinking about your keep that you're on your way to puts stark contrast on the fact that with the evening, it's become quite chilly. Do you guys set up like a fire or something like that?
I'm sure we'd need a fire.
I definitely need
But
a fire.
Are we sleeping on the in the wagon? Or are we gonna
We have like
do
bedrolls and
bedrolls
stuff
around a
too. And
fire?
tents?
Did we
Do we
get
have tents?
tents? Did we get
Did
tents?
we get
I don't
tents?
remember.
If you want to get tents, if you want to say you got tents, you definitely have the money to get tents. I don't think they're all that expensive. Let's see.
I go where
Tent.
Embers goes.
I think
She always
that's-
keeps me nice and cozy.
Yeah, a tent is 2 gold pieces, so you easily have
Yeah,
enough
so we can
money
get,
to
like,
get a tent or 2.
2 tents then?
2 tents.
Yeah.
Or 3, 1 for Torin
Or 3?
and Malt.
Sure.
Okay, so you kind of set up some tents, pull the wagon off the side of the road, get a fire going from some of the wood from the forest.
Get the horses fed and watered.
And yeah, the evening comes. It's a very restful night. A lot of you are, I guess, more tired than you'd expect from just sitting in the wagon a lot of the day.
It was an exciting day.
Yeah, just the act of kind of getting out into the wilderness and traveling has been tiring, despite the fact that a lot of it was sitting.
We like along a road, or are we like kind of in the wilderness?
Well, you've been following a road up. Whether you like how far you pull the wagon off the road to
Mhm.
camp, that's up to you.
Mm-mm.
So I don't know what's your preference.
What is your preference?
Maybe like, I don't know, 10 minutes off the road or something?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you found kind of a nice like more than a clearing, but it's not a big open plain or anything like that. Just a place to kind of pull the wagon into that's out of the way. And you set up a little fire, and you have a nice restful night there. And you wake up the next morning, get back on the road, and at least for the first part, it seems to be pretty much more of the same. But towards maybe the middle of the second day, something happens. So could someone roll for me 2d4 and determine which one is the first d4 for me, please? I need them in an order.
I've got all these D4s out here, so I'll do it.
Okay.
I also infuse a different magic item during our long rest and make
Okay.
an alchemy jug instead of
Oh.
the bag of holding.
So
Because I
that's
know
why
we-
you unpacked, I see.
Yes.
Yeah.
And because I know we have a lot of, people who like to drink. So
Well, I rolled a 3 on both die.
A 3 on both die. Okay, that's actually
So
interesting.
a
Let's
3
see.
and then a 3.
3, and then, so that brings me to this table. Oh, I see. You said 3-3, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So about the middle of the, I need to get up a note real quick. Hold on just a second. You guys can talk amongst yourselves about how your day is going.
So for the alchemy jug, I figured
Mm.
that we can produce water, wine, or beer as some of the options.
That's great.
So, or mayonnaise, if that's your thing.
Beer,
right.
beer for more cheer.
Yeah. So I guess the question is, I would choose to do one of those things depending on if we have like a supply of we actually have like fresh water available or not. If we don't have water, we don't see any.
I mean, there's still like remains of snow that you could boil down to make water.
If we're okay with that, then I can just do beer. 8 gallons of beer
My goodness.
every day.
Okay. Who would be sort of outside keeping watch? Is that Embers again?
I think it's probably Embers again, unless somebody else. Unless if Stephen's there with me, or are you still wanting to drive the cart?
I'm sure I'll be flitting around, but I'll probably be on your shoulders part of the day resting.
Okay. Then can I have a perception roll from both Embers and Tuppence?
Sure.
Ooh, that's a good one.
I rolled a 1, a 5,
Ooh, can Sultan do that too?
a 6.
Would Sultan be sort of outside of the wagon?
Yeah.
Then sure.
All right.
Roll a 19.
A 19. Okay. Embers, you have no idea what happens because it's so fast that you can't even catch sight of it. But Tuppence, you've actually, this is something that's been kind of on your mind. And so I guess you're a little bit braced for it when a blur of motion and movement comes speeding down the road behind you. And you kind of see that coming from the back of the wagon and fly up to the front in time to see that blur of motion take a quick rest by the horses, like leap around them, unharnessing them in a swift motion and slap their butts, and they just take off down the road. And then you are the only one, I guess actually, what was Sultan's perception check?
20.
Sultan also witnesses this tiny sprightly figure with blue skin and pointed ears and kind of long hair that trails behind them. Stop for just a second, stick out its tongue at Tuppence, and
gosh.
do a little neener neener boo boo type thing before darting back down the road again.
Thistle! Get back here!
I guess I better run after those horses.
Yeah, do we hear the horses?
Yeah, they would make a nice type of sound as
Yeah,
they kind of
then-
just dart.
And the wagon probably goes
Okay.
ka-chunk.
Question.
Yep.
Question.
Mm-hmm.
When I wild shape, all of my equipment and stuff gets melds into my body or whatever.
Correct.
Does the Drake egg count as equipment?
No.
Okay. So I'm gonna have to set that aside in some blankets, and then I leap from the wagon and transform into a horse and go running after them.
Okay. And Embers also ran after them, right?
Yeah,
Could both of you make athletics checks?
sure.
I guess for Embers, it's more of like a quick burst type thing. So you can make a dexterity athletics check if you want.
Oh, okay. Why am I rolling so bad tonight? That was a 2 on die. Means I got a
Oh
7.
no. And how did,
D20 for my horse?
Can I spend a key point to give myself advantage on that roll?
Sure.
Great.
Well, I turned that all the way up to an 11.
Okay. And then what was Elwyn's?
Yeah, that's an 8.
An 8. Okay.
But my speed is 60 feet as a horse.
Yeah, these horses are spooked though, and they are, at least for the moment, keeping ahead of you. And they are just kind of barreling down the road.
Cool.
Does anyone else want to do anything?
Keep following them.
Torin takes off in a sprint, but is nowhere near as fast as either of you. Get back here!
Is Embers keeping pace with me?
What's
Uh,
Embers'
Embers
speed?
faster than me.
Emperor's speed is 40 base.
Okay, then I'm
I can-
probably faster.
I can spend key points and use racial features to
Right.
go
but
faster than that.
You didn't yet. Okay. Okay. Never mind. Well, I was gonna actually, I'll probably, if I see her running after the horses as well, I'll run up next to her and kind of give her an opportunity to climb on if she wants, but I know she's not really
Oh,
into
no.
horses, so I'm not gonna like force it,
Yeah.
but I'll just kind of run up next to her and kind of give her the
Mhm.
opportunity.
She
If she
do-
doesn't do it,
doesn't take this
then I'm just
opportunity.
gonna, then
Yeah.
I'll just book at full speed. The
Okay.
chance. Yep.
Make one more athletics check. It seems like the horses are starting to slow after the initial scare.
I have rolled during the session so far a 1, a 2, and a 3.
Oh, Nick.
This is a great start. No, I actually did much better this time. 18.
I think there's
Um,
something like subconsciously holding back Embers from succeeding on catching a horse.
Yeah,
Like, I
maybe
don't
you
really
don't
wanna do
really
this.
want to. So it's Elwyn who catches up to them. What do you do once you sort of make pace with them and come into stride?
How did they react to seeing another horse? Is it more fear, or is it a little bit of like, can I talk to them? I was able to
you
talk
could-
to Jen.
I'd say you could probably talk to them.
Yeah.
There's like they don't. They kind of think you've been spooked by the same thing as they do from what you gathered.
I'm not additionally spooking them further.
No. They just
like-
kind of see
just
you
like-
running with them and accept you.
Slate gray horse with this pearlescent white fur, hair, mane, whatever. 2 different colored eyes. Yeah, so I'll kind of run up and fall into step with them and be like, hey, it's okay. There's nothing to be afraid of. You're fine. Calm down. Let's slow down and take a breath. You're fine.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm sure. It's fine.
Oh, that was a
Everything's
sudden
fine.
fright.
Yes.
Oh.
Everything's
Yeah, they start to.
that
they start
must have
to
been
slow.
really, this scared me too.
Can you
but
make
it's-
either an animal handling or a persuasion check?
Deception. It's still there. It's so scary.
So a riding horse. No, that's my animal handling check.
Well, you get to
think.
use your.
My skill. Yeah. No,
your-
I'm using the stat block for wild shape, so it has my stats in it.
Oh, I see.
And I didn't
That's great.
realize. I was like, well, how does a riding horse have animal handling for? Okay, so animal handling or persuasion. I'm gonna do animal handling because that's a little bit better. All right, let's do this one. That's a 13.
Okay. Yeah, they don't slow immediately, but they kind of begin to, coast to a stop.
All right.
And they kind of turn around and skeptically
just-
look back, and they just see the wagon and the people they've
Yeah.
been traveling with. Perhaps you're right.
Yeah, I am so sorry that happened. That was uncalled for, really. And I'm gonna keep an eye out, make sure that doesn't happen again. But we're gonna need you to come back. And I think there's some good apples in it for you if you come back.
Oh, I love a
Yeah.
good apple.
Two or
Oh,
three
that was
of them.
quite
each.
frightful.
Yeah,
Very uncomfortable. Oh.
yeah. I'm so sorry. I'll give you a nice scratch when I change back to myself. All right.
Who are you again? Where did you come from?
You know what? That's not important right now. Come on.
Okay. And they kind of just
Let's go get some apples. Come
trot
on.
behind you back towards the wagon, just kind of occasionally saying apples as they go.
Before they start back, could we say that I hopped on Owen and got ahead, and because I'd like to cast a message to try to get a message to Thistle.
Sure. Yeah. What does your message say? As you basically, Thistle is so quick that he's nearly out of the range of message by the time you get the spell off. But you think you can get one to him. What does it say?
Okay, I'm gonna say, Thistle, I've learned your name. It'll be much worse when I catch up to you. If you don't come back now, I will catch up with you. That's it.
Okay. The message you get back, basically the instant you've finished casting your message, there's not a second's pause. The message you get back is, you think you can catch me? That's cute. No one can catch me. I'm the fastest there ever was. Ha 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 ha. And that's it. Though, actually, would you make a persuasion check?
Maybe this one's been rolling well. That's 417.
Okay. Rook, you and Soltem are the only ones back at the wabbin. The wabbin? Oh boy.
And Malt.
The
and-
wagon.
And Walt is there too.
And Walt as well, yes. The wascally wabbin. Can you two make perception checks, or one of you with advantage?
Sure. Let's see.
This is great, guys.
We rolled a natural 20, which
Hmm.
is a 24.
Okay. You spot a blur of movement kind of off in the woods near the wagon. That kind of comes to a halt next to a tree, and you can barely see this little sprightly face kind of peeking out and watching the results of the chaos he created from behind a tree.
Okay.
Stop laughing at me, Kay.
I'm not. I keep looking at Nick and Mom, and they're both laughing, and I can't stop. Sorry. It was funny because the second time you said a wagon, you said it correctly, but it sounded wrong.
No, I know. I'm never
Because
going to
it
be able to
was-
say wagon again.
Wagon in the woods.
Yep. The woodsy wagon.
I'm sorry. Yeah, so I just bring the horses back. And if once they follow me back to the wagon, I'm going to transform back into myself and make sure I get them the apples I promised them and get them all hooked back up and everything.
And
Yeah,
we
Torin
will-
is there to kind of help you hook them back up. What even was that? They were hooked and then all of a sudden they were unbridled.
I had no idea. I had my nose in a book in there, but I heard them whinnying, so
That little,
Did
it's
anyone
that little
else see anything?
sprout, Thistle. It's Thistle. He's a little drummer dude, and he's been just bugging me. I can't catch him. He's so fast.
I see
why would he
here.
have it out for us? Why is he here?
Oh, he's just a silly little menace. I don't even know him. I don't even know him. I don't know why he's bugging us, but I want to find out. Don't you?
Well, sure.
Is he still by the
Alice.
tree?
Yeah, he's still watching over there, convinced he hasn't been seen.
And then so I will cast message to Tuppence then and say he's over by a tree over there, and I'll like nudge my arm in that direction. He doesn't see us yet.
So how far away is it?
Maybe about 60 feet.
Okay. So I'm going to cast invisibility on myself
Okay.
and fly over to where Brooke told me he was.
Yeah, make a perception check.
Should know these by heart by now. 16.
16. Okay. You are able to spot Thistle and kind of flutter over there invisibly. You get over to where he is behind a tree, and he's just kind of laughing to himself about watching the party hook the horses back up.
Okay. So I'm going to come really close, and I'm going to grab him with my mage hand.
Okay. Would you make a charisma check for me then?
Charisma. Ooh, that's a +5 to a 12. 17.
Okay, you're really lucky that Thistle is rolling like garbage, because your mage hand manages to grapple him despite his incredible speed and dexterity. Like, he sees it coming just in time because there's that brief second where you cast the spell and become visible, and he begins to dart, but your mage hand grabs him and lifts him off the ground, and his legs are just spinning in a blur, very cartoon style. Hey, let me go! Hey! What's all this?
I told you, sucker!
Damn
I
it!
got you! Told you it would be worse. Okay.
He's like trying to run as fast as he can.
Okay, so Tuppy is so excited / mad, she can't talk right now. She's gonna bring him back over to the group.
Okay, yeah. The group of you see Tuppence fly back over with her mage hand beside her, grasping this struggling, sprightly figure.
Hands on
Does she
hips,
seem to have a
disappointed.
handle on it, or does it seem like he could slip out at any minute with as much as he's
He
wriggling
could
around?
maybe slip out.
Then I'm going to.
It looks like she's got him for now, but who knows?
Then I'm just going to be prepared to cast a spell if it looks like he is escaping.
Okay. And now that you get a good look at him, like I said, he's got blue skin with like long elf-like ears. They're much longer proportionally than an elf's ears would be to, the rest of their head. His ears are almost like as long as, his head is. So they kind of poke up beyond his hair, which is also this like long, thing that kind of drifts behind him when he runs. But he is wearing pretty much like all black leathers and things like that, with lots of studs. And you can see now that he's up close, his ears have several piercings in them. His eyebrows are also pierced. And it looks like also he has a sort of like a black streak in his hair as well. And he's just struggling. Hey, come on, let me go. This isn't fair. You use magic. I didn't use any magic.
So you're saying you're fast all on your own? You don't need magic to be fast? That's what you're saying? That's what you're telling me right now?
I'm just super quick.
Mm-hmm. Hello, by the way. I'm Tuppence. What are you doing?
He kind of crosses his arms, but his legs are still swinging in the air. It looks like he can't hold still even if he tries. He crosses his arms and says, "Yeah, I know who you are. You're from Silent Run."
I am. Where are you from?
Well, not far, not far from there.
Hey, do you know what happened to my village?
No, I don't know a thing about what happened to your village, but because of what happened to your village, well, I don't have a village anymore.
What?
Insight check.
Okay, yeah, roll an insight check.
They're speaking in common, right?
I think he'd be speaking Sylvan. Tuppence speaks Sylvan, right?
I don't speak Sylvan. Then it doesn't really matter.
That's a good point, though. Thanks for reminding me, Zach.
Rook
He's
would
talking with the
also
fairy. So.
Ask Torin to help hold him just in case. If he doesn't mind.
Okay. In that case, Tuppence, would you make another athletics check or charisma check at advantage because Torin is helping you?
Advantage. I needed that because I just rolled a 2. That's better. 13 plus 5, 18.
Okay. It looks like he's about to slip out, but Tuppence, Elwyn, you're watching for that. What spell is it that you cast?
I cast Hold Person.
Okay. Technically he's a fae, but I'm going to allow it.
Is he I mean, okay.
I'm going to allow it.
I appreciate that.
What's the save? Is it wisdom?
Wisdom DC is 14.
He just missed it.
Yeah.
So yeah, he fails. And he, for the first time since you've seen him, is perfectly still.
Yeah. So basically the way the spell looks, which I think I tried to describe it before, and then I was like, nope, it needs to be a humanoid. Never mind. Elwyn basically just has been watching very closely, and as soon as she sees that he's trying to slip out, she throws her hands kind of in front of her, and there's this kind of swirl of snowflakes that come from her that kind of convalesce around him, and his body just gets rigid like he was frozen.
And so for the first time, he's holding perfectly still as he's grabbed there in sort of a bear hug by Torin and also by Tuppence's mage hand.
And I'll say, this only lasts about a minute, so whatever you got to do to detain him, you better do it quickly.
Anybody got some rope?
Oh yeah.
Sure, yeah.
Let's tie him up. What he's saying is that he's not from my village, but he's saying since my village got destroyed, it destroyed his village too, and I'm trying to figure out what's going on.
Can he still talk when he's under hold person? No. Okay.
I can do message though, right?
You
Does
can
it-
message to him, but he actually has to whisper back, so he couldn't respond to
Okay.
you.
Yeah, I
Alright.
can end the spell early once we have him restrained
Okay.
too. We don't have to wait a minute. if he's good and tied up. So when that happens, I can release him.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty easy since you've got him perfectly still.
Mhm,
You guys can tie him up.
Can
And
you?
then,
Does he speak common? Can you ask him if he speaks common?
I will. This is my group of friends. I'll quickly introduce everybody.
Sure.
Do you know how to speak common so that they can understand you?
oh yeah, okay, fine. Yeah, I'll cooperate. I get it. I'm not getting out of this if I don't cooperate. Fine. And yeah, he starts speaking common. Hi, everyone. Thistle.
Hi.
Nice to meet you.
Hello.
I wish I could say the pleasure was returned, but you did spook our horses.
What? That was just a little bit of fun. You didn't think that was fun?
How about I slap
thought
you
it was
on the
fun.
ass and see what you feel about it?
Oh,
Well, you'd
yeah.
have to untie me to get to my ass. So, joke's on you.
Okay. I have to admit, it was a little funny. Did you
Exactly.
see
See,
Ellen and
she
her
gets
running?
it. It's so good.
It was a fun prank. I get it. So what's the name of your village?
Oh shoot! Did I not prepare a name for his village?
Your name is true.
Hashtag
says-
underprepared DM.
Yep. He says it's not important. It's not important at all. The main thing is doesn't exist, and it's all because of what happened to your village.
What did
Hmm.
happen to her village?
I have no idea what happened to my village. It just all of a sudden it just wasn't there anymore, and I was pushed out into the material plane.
Yeah,
Did
exactly.
that happen to you too?
Well, no, not exactly. But at Silent Run, it was a bloodbath, a massacre. And I don't need to tell you, you're a fellow fairy. You know what I'm talking about. When there's a lot of blood on the ground in the Feywild, you know what happens. And Tuppence, you could roll an Arcana check at advantage to see if you get a hint what he's talking about.
Well, Tuppence is kind of mentally blocked all that, but okay. Arcana. So that is a 15 plus 3, 18.
Yeah, you recall it doesn't happen often within the Fey domains of the Archfey because they're very protected. But more often in sort of the wilds part of the Feywild that don't really fall under any Archfey's domain. When there's an act of bloodshed or violence, it can create creatures of this horrible bloodlust and malice called red caps. They basically pop out of the ground like mushrooms at first. They just kind of look like these blood red mushrooms, and then slowly they kind of pull themselves up out of the grounds, and they're these like cantankerous, angry fey creatures that in turn have this insatiable bloodlust. And so you would presume that what Thistle is talking about is that after the massacre of Silent Run, there were a lot of these red caps that grew in that area. And so if his village was nearby, that could be a big problem.
Did the red caps destroy your whole village?
Oh yeah. I mean, it's fine. Like I wasn't close with anyone there. It's really no skin off my back other than the fact that I had to kind of, flee to here, this non-miraculous plane of nothingness.
No, it's really weird here, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, there's not even any singing flowers or talking animals.
I know, but
What's the point?
It has its charms. I've met a lot of lovely people. And I introduced him to Malt and to everybody again, saying that these are these are really, really lovely people, and we've earned our own place, and we're heading there now. Do you want to hang out with us for a little while and so that you're fed and, you have people looking
Yeah,
out
I
for
mean,
you?
I'm pretty good on my own. Like I said, I'm quick. No one can catch me. I get by with plenty of food. It's
That was
really no
loud.
problem.
I
Hey!
caught you.
Shut up. But you used magic. Doesn't count. No one who doesn't use magic can catch me. So point is,
Okay.
I'm fine on my own. I take care of myself.
Okay, fine. But just know we're on our way to, I keep wanting to say Ravenwood. Amberhearth, and we have a keep there. So just ask for us, and then you'll find us if you ever need us. Okay.
Yeah, all right. Whatever.
Okay. I'm gonna let you go. It was nice meeting you. What? Do you want to say
Does
something?
it look like Embers has something to say?
Yeah. Before you go, why were you following us?
Oh, well, I mean, okay. So the truth is, look, I caught wind that, your pixie friend here, Tuppence, that she's been looking into some, the situation surrounding what happened at Silent Run. And, like I said, there was no skin off my back that what happened, like whatever. I didn't know anybody, wasn't close with anybody. I'm fine on my own, but, damn it if I'm not curious what happened. So I was just I guess I was drafting off the investigation. I don't know.
So you haven't heard anything else? Anything other? The only
He
thing I
shakes his
have.
head.
The only thing I have is this fan, and I show him. And the only thing I've learned about it is that it comes up in estate sales, some of them in Daegu, in the Smole Woods. Is that how you say that? So do you want to try to go there and look for more information? See if you can find out what the fan is about?
He kind of shrugs and says, if I feel like it. I mean, it's a long run, but that could be fun.
Can I roll insight on him?
Yeah, go ahead, roll insight. Tuppence also roll a persuasion.
Okay. I'll
I would
make it
also
worth
like
your
to roll
while.
insight, just generally, now that I can understand what he's saying.
This dice just rolled natural 20 twice in a row. I'm just saying.
Oh, damn.
Is that the one I got you?
Yeah.
Yay!
14.
14. Okay. And Rook, what are you trying to figure out with your insight check?
He's lying. 24.
If he's lying about which part?
When he's talking to Tuppence about stuff.
Okay. And then Elwin, what was your roll?
Not great. That's a 12.
12.
And yeah, just trying to gauge more about if he's friendly or if he's, if his intentions are just a harmless mischief, or if he's got an ulterior motive or whatever.
Okay. Well, believe it or not, I rolled a natural 20 for his deception check. So Rook, you're looking at him with this scrutinizing eye, and it's really hard to tell because Ethan can't do it, but every time he talks, he's talking super fast. So it's hard to read any of the micro expressions that he might have that would betray his sincerity or lack thereof. You get the sense, though, because that was a very good roll, that he really doesn't mind kind of being a loner, and he probably really didn't know anyone back in the Feywild. But he also is a little bit grumpy about having to hang out here now. But as to whether he's telling the truth or lying about anything he said, that's a bit unclear.
So anyway, I'll make it worth your while if you come to me with info. If you get any info, I'll pay you for it.
Oh yeah? How so? What you got? And
well,
I don't
depending on the-
I don't need to tell you. You know what I'm talking about. Making a deal with the Fae, that's a big deal. So
I just want to make it a straight cash bargain. I don't want to make any other kind of bargain right now.
he
find me.
holds up 4 different coin purses. clearly you can see the strings are cut on each. He says, look, I got gold. I got gold coming out of my butt. I got so much gold. I could just steal it right off of someone's purse. It's no problem. They don't even notice. That's no big deal. So whatever. I'll just do it if I feel like it.
You know what? You be you, Thistle.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'll do it if I feel like it, but
you know, I totally get it. I totally get it. I get you.
I don't know that you do, but yeah, if it's all good and you're ready to let me go, I'm ready to, and he hasn't stopped moving his legs, since the hold person stopped. I'm just ready to start running again. So
okay.
Come on.
All right.
Please.
All right. But it won't be so easy if you do any more tricks. I'm just warning you.
We'll see. We'll see. All
right. Anybody else got any questions for it? We let him go. All right. Fight Thistle.
Okay. As you're untying the knot, he's like impatiently tapping his foot. Come on. Hurry up. And as soon as the knot is undone and there's the slightest bit of slack in the rope, he leaps out of it and just down the road again. The same direction you're heading, but
Okay. Interesting fast fellow, huh?
Never seen anything that fast.
Well, that's what it's like where I come from. A lot of different types. You wouldn't understand unless you've been there. But
It's too bad he didn't have any more information for you.
Well, things happen for a reason. It'll come when it comes. Just gonna do the best I can until it does. That's all I can do.
Attitude to have.
It doesn't do to dwell.
okay. Well, if you guys don't have anything more to say about that, you're able to hitch the horses back up, no problem. Torin was kind of working on it throughout the conversation, and get back on the road without losing really too much time. And so your next day and a half or so of travel goes by pretty smoothly. You pass through another couple of small villages, even kind of a minor city or two, where you can kind of stop and actually get a decent meal if you want it.
No offense, Ellen.
Look, I know these berries are delicious, but they're not quite, sometimes you want to eat a real meal. I understand that. I sleep in a real bed, I'm all right with that.
And so another day and a half or so goes by with relatively no event as you just kind of pass through, alternating between wilderness and various villages and small cities and things like that as you travel your way northward. And then on about the fourth day of travel, it's a little bit chilly. It's kind of been getting a little bit, after the initial warmer days, you've had some colder days of like almost ice-like rain, where it's just very gray, overcast, and cloudy, and kind of really just miserable to travel in. And so there's a point in time where Tuppence has sort of curled up in Ember's fur in the wagon for a little bit of a rest and just for a little bit of warmth when it's cold. And what would Embers be doing in the wagon while Tuppence is kind of, napping in her fur?
Oh man, I guess probably journaling doesn't take very long out here because not that much is happening. So probably reviewing the manual again.
Okay. So you're kind of leafing through the martial arts manual and just reviewing different forms that it describes and, different practices in there. And Tuppence is kind of snoring gently in your fur. But Tuppence, you begin to have a little bit of a daydream. Let me get my notes here. You're sleeping peacefully, and it's one of those sleeps where, at first there's nothing and it's just blissful darkness. But then you begin to blink, sort of slowly rising to what seems like consciousness. And you find yourself in this dingy moss and vine covered stone room lit only by the last embers of a dwindling fire. And you're looking in a mirror atop sort of this time-worn wooden vanity that is strewn with hand-scrawled sheets of music. And you kind of, you can see the rest of the room in the reflection in the mirror. And as you survey the dilapidated furniture within the room, you realize that it's actually all sized for a tiny creature like yourself. Everything looks perfectly proportional, which is something you haven't seen in a while. And you have this brief moment where you realize just how accustomed you've grown to living in a world that's tailor-made for bigger folk. And you get this sort of strange sense of nostalgia that comes with that. But you don't have very long to dwell on that, because your attention is drawn back to the center of the mirror, where you can see your face reflected. Only it's not exactly your face. The you in the mirror has her hair dyed with a dark raven-colored black, with a shock of white running through it where you have your purple streak. And she has dark bags under her eyes. Instinctively, you feel yourself trying to cry out in surprise at the visage you see in the mirror and reach up with your right hand to touch your hair. Your cry rings in your mind, loud, but the mouth that you see reflected in the mirror remains still in resolute defiance of your wishes. And at the same time, your right arm twitches as if to move towards your hair, but the left arm, unbidden by you, leaps to catch it and hold it in its place. Your eyes drop down to watch as your left arm holds the right still for a moment. And then you hear a voice to the side. "What is it, boss? Is something wrong?" And after a moment's silence, you look back into the mirror and watch your lips begin to form a response. Again, completely unbidden by you. No, everything's fine. How is our conductor today? All of this is taking longer than I'd like, and that's precious time we don't have. The voice responds, "I think he's in high spirits today, boss. At least, well, he seems more energetic than he has been." Your lips begin to move again. Good. We can't complete the concerto without him, and the entire plan hinges on that. You can hear the sounds of someone leaving the room after you say that, but the you in the mirror doesn't turn to look at the door. Instead, she narrows her eyes and leans in close to the mirror before saying, "I know you're in there. It was only a matter of time before this happened, but you don't belong here. Don't you get it? You're not real, and I have work to do. So get out." And with that, the room begins to dissolve around you until the mirror in front of you hangs suspended in a void of blackness. The last thing you see before you return to dreamless slumber is the eyes of the you in the mirror, narrowed to unblinking slits, watching you until you drift away entirely. And eventually, after a little while longer of dreamless sleep, you awake in the warm folds of Embers' fur.
Oh my gosh, Embers, I just had the weirdest dream. Felt so real. It felt so real. I didn't leave, did I?
You didn't what?
I didn't leave you, did I?
No, you've been right here in my lap the whole time.
I
I'm
can
hearing-
vouch for that, Molt says from a corner of the wagon where he's curled up on a little cushion that he brought himself.
What happened in the dream?
I saw me, but it wasn't me. And there's a voice inside my head telling me to get out of my own head. What the heck? I don't understand. Something about a conductor and a concerto. It's all jumbled up. It's
Empress,
scary.
Empress is like, I don't know anything about magic or fae stuff. I don't know what to say here.
Thank you for listening. I know I sound crazy. I know.
It's all really foggy in your head, but the thing that you remember the most is those eyes kind of narrowed to slits. They were clearly your eyes, but again, with these dark bags underneath, as if, exhausted from lack of sleep. And you just remember them staring back at you, knowing they were your eyes, but not your eyes.
All right.
Oh, it was probably just a bad dream. I wouldn't worry about it too much.
That one's gonna be tough to shake though. Creepy. How can I be me and not me at the same time? That's demented.
Are you guys talking loud enough that everyone can hear you? Because I guess Malt did, but
Yeah, if you're in the wagon or at least nearby.
Yeah. I think we're in
Pretty
the
much
wagon.
everyone
If,
can
it,
hear
if
this
it's if it's been
conversation.
raining, I think Empress has not been outside the wagon. I think she's staying in.
so I guess we'll ask. I mean, I could take a look if you want with the review memory.
Yes. Can you?
Sure,
Does that work on dreams?
it's a memory.
All right.
Let's give it a shot.
Let's try it.
All right.
I warn you, it's kind of creepy, and I don't look like me.
Yeah. Rook,
okay.
when you kind of cast the spell on Tuppence, I don't remember. Does Rook place his hand on people when he casts it?
so-
How's that look?
I think you have to touch them. Let me see. Da, 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 da. Yep, touch. So what we do is we basically just kind of sit down next to her, make sure that, because I lose my what's the word I'm looking for, like perception of self, I guess, or like where I am, my touch and feel.
Sense of awareness.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I'll just like gently we'll like either touch hands or I'll gently put a hand on her, and then I'll just say, do your best to remember, and cast the spell.
Okay. Rook, as you enter this memory, which Tuppence is trying to recall to bring, to forefront of mind so that you can view it, you see pretty much exactly everything I just described. It's a little fuzzier than when Tuppence experienced it, because the dream has already sort of begun to slip away, and some of the details in her memory are already a little foggy. But you see basically the same thing. Are you looking for anything in particular?
So let me look at this feat that I took and see if it does anything for me. This probably won't apply, but I'm just kind of curious. Okay, so actually this might work later, but maybe trying to identify anything about these people, like if they have any sort of like accent or like any like features that put them towards some culture or something.
Roll a perception check.
Sure. I wonder which dice I'm going to use. I swear to God, it's another natural 20. I'm not even kidding. I'm not even kidding. Do you want me to show you? I'm like,
no, I
not
believe
even,
you. I believe you.
I'm like,
okay.
This dice is weighted. I think I have to get a different one. Like,
no, I'm sure it's perfectly fine dice. So
it's cursed. I'm not going to.
The person whose perspective you're viewing from, this dream Tuppence, never looks at the other speaker who's off to the side. So you can't get anything visually about what that person looks like. In terms of things you would glean about their voice, it sounds like, just based on the way it echoes in this, small chamber, it seems like it's probably another tiny creature. Let's see. The things you notice about the person in the mirror is, just like Tuppence said, it very much looks like identical to her, except for the different hair color, the white streak where Tuppence's purple is. The eyes are the same, except for these dark bags underneath. The other thing you get a sharper view of that Tuppence didn't really get a good look at is the sheets of music strewn across the desk that the mirror is situated on. What languages does Rook know?
Let's see. Common, Draconic, Elvish, Primordial, Undercommon.
Okay. In a language you don't recognize, it seems like there is a title scrawled across one of the sheets of music. Looks like maybe it's the first sheet of music. And you think you can remember, how to replicate those characters, even though you can't speak the language, just because you're so keenly focused in this moment. But you hear and witness everything that Tuppence did as well, which means that when the memory ends, that final line, "I know you're in there. It was only a matter of time before this happened, but you don't belong here. Don't you get it? You're not real, and I have work to do. So get out." Said in Tuppence's voice, echoes in your head as the memory fades.
Okay, and then I don't know if I'm able to do this or not, but is it possible to know if it is like just a dream or if it's like too real to be?
That's impossible to tell,
Okay,
unfortunately, with
and
your
I'm
spell.
totally okay with that. Okay, so then I'll like come out and and then like, wow, that was okay, that was something.
No.
Yeah, but what does this
Did
mean
you
to
see
you?
anything?
Yeah, and then I'll grab some paper that I have in my satchel and I'll draw the characters out and say, I don't know this language. What's this mean?
It is Sylvan, so Tuppence recognizes it. And he scrawls out the words Concerto of Cleaving.
Does that mean anything to you?
Cleaving, well, and cleave something in two. I don't know. Are they trying to rip something apart? Me and him, me and this, her, this other person?
You would know.
The
I don't know.
paper that Concerto of Cleaving is scrawled onto begins to levitate slightly off of the ground. And Tuppence, you see your pan flute glows just a little bit before the paper drifts back to the ground and the glow stops.
Just like
I wonder if
stunned.
I played my flute, if something would happen. Let's try it. I'll get out my flute. Play a
We'd
little.
stop the wagon first and maybe,
Stop the
road
wagon?
a little bit, just in
Yes.
case, this.
All right, pulling over.
Thank you, Torin. We just don't want to spook the horses again.
What song does Tuppence begin to play on her flute?
I'm going to play the one about the Dirge of the Dead. Let's try that.
Oh, okay. So are you trying to do the alternate ability that's on the pan flute when you play that song? Because you can cast Speak with Dead, but remember there's also even without a body, there's someone you can try and communicate with. Is that what you're trying to do?
I'm going to try to do that way. Yeah.
Okay. Would you make a performance check then?
Okay, you've been rolling really well all night. Don't fail me now.
Wait. I cast guidance on her
Okay.
before she starts playing.
I don't really need it. I rolled a 16 and I have a +7, so it's a 21.
Okay.
So add that D4 anyway. Who knows?
Okay, maybe I do need it. I will.
Not 23.
Rolled a 3, so it's a 24.
You can see as you begin to play this sort of haunting melody, slow notes that kind of slur into one another. And it chills, like it's already a cold, wet day, but each of you who can hear this feels chills creep into your body, and some of your hairs begin to stand on end as this song plays through the cart. And you can see the horses kind of twitch their ears a little nervously. Tuppence, as you play this spell to its final note, which you hold for a little while, letting it ring out through the forest, that paper begins to levitate again, and some of Rook's books off to the side begin to levitate and kind of slowly spin in the air. The temperature in the wagon drops several degrees, and a wispy form of a pixie begins to appear before you. And you can see, as the features slowly become more and more distinct, that this pixie looks quite similar to Tuppence, but definitely older and more mature. And Tuppence, you, as the features become recognizable, you see this translucent form of your mother, and she is kind of looking around, mystified. What do you ask?
Mom, are you there?
She, at first, it kind of looks like she is banging up against a wall that is not there. But then you see her mouth begin to form words, and she says, Tuppy, yes, I'm here. Where am I? What is this place?
Explain what happened. I'm just thrown out in the material plane. Something's going on. There's something about, do you know anything about this, a concerto of cleaving? Can you help us?
She, again, kind of looking still bewildered. It almost looks like she's unable to see you because she's looking around, kind of, she can't really pinpoint where your voice is coming from. I don't know anything about a concerto of cleaving, no. Tuppence, what's happened to me? What's going on? I can't see anything.
Your magic is in your pan flute now. When I play it, it glows, and it's like your colors. And here you are.
But where's here? I don't understand.
I don't understand either. It's some kind of magic that called you to me. I'm wondering how you can help. Our village was destroyed. I don't know by who. We're trying to find out by who. Do you know anything?
I have a vague memory. I remember there was a figure, hooded, tall, bigger than the rest of the people in the village, and everything was on fire. I remember they were after Indy. Tuppence, where's Indy?
I don't
You have
know.
you have to find Indy. You have to save him.
I know this. I know this. I don't know what to do from here. We're trying. Do you know anything about the fan with the cat on it? That's all I took from the plane.
Fan with the cat? No, I don't know anything. I'm sorry, Tuppence. Everything is still so fuzzy.
Yes, that's how it feels for me too. Okay, well, maybe in time our connection will be stronger to where you be able to see me. This is the first time I've used it since the flute started glowing. Is this some kind of ancestral magic that made it do this?
I don't know, Tuppence, but your voice is starting to sound farther and farther away. Can you still hear me? Tuppence! Tuppence! And then just her voice begins to trail off as the spectral form begins to disappear as well. The books thunk, fall to the ground, and you can feel the temperature in the wagon begin to rise back up to the regular temperature for this gloomy, rainy day.
Could everybody else hear what she said and see her?
Mhm.
Okay, then I'm gonna immediately fly into Ember's fur and burrow in because I'm shaking and upset.
Yeah. I'll just kind of like just hold you there a little bit. Are you okay?
No.
All right.
Do you want some hot cocoa?
I feel terrible here. I've been just going around not thinking this is important, and she wants me to save Indy, and I have no idea what to do.
Who is that?
Indy was my best friend. She was taken.
I thought Indy was a boy. If I said he earlier, I'm sorry. Did I get that wrong?
She's
Okay,
a girl.
Indy's a girl. I'm sorry. In my notes, I had that Indy's a boy.
I might
I
have
will
put
fix
it
that.
as I might have it in there, but in my head, Indy is a girl.
Okay, I'll fix that in my notes.
Okay. Yeah, her oh, it doesn't even say. So you just kind of assume that's okay. Doesn't say. Anyway,
Was she taken before your village was destroyed?
she was the reason apparently that the village was destroyed. I don't know. She's like you, Embers. She really could make anything with a needle and thread. She was really special. She made the outfit that I'm wearing. She could imbue things with magic if she wanted to. But I don't know. I don't even know where to begin. That's the only thing I had to go by was the fan, and Mom couldn't help me.
Well, but we still have the lead about the fans showing up in Daegu, right? Not all is lost. We have something to go off of. We can put some feelers out.
And of course, when I get to a place where I can set up shop, I will continue to search for leads.
I'm
Malt
so
says.
glad I have you all. Thank you. And there's always Thistle. Maybe Thistle will surprise us and come through.
He seems unreliable at best.
A little bit flighty, if you ask me.
Okay. Well, then it's a little bit of a somber mood, I guess, as the wagon starts rolling down the road again. It's going to be, another couple of quiet days of travel before anything happens again. Does anyone do anything in the meantime?
Yeah, I would spend the days that we're not doing much, I guess, changing the appearance of my armor, like the look of it.
What do you change it to look like?
More reptilian.
Oh.
I'm still kind of like working out the figures in my head, whether I want like a tail and stuff like that, but
Yeah, well, luckily for you, it's very malleable, and you don't even need like a formal lab or anything like that to get it to change the way you want it to. So Rook can spend plenty of time kind of nitpicking over the finer details of the armor and trying to get it just right, putting in these little scales and as many sort of little details as he wants.
yeah.
Will help.
Sure.
So Elwyn and Rook kind of sit in the corner of the wagon for, much of these quiet days, just fussing over the little details. Elwyn kind of giving feedback here and there.
Yeah. And then I serve beer, apparently, at, whenever I want it, because I have, what did I say, 8 gallons or something of beer?
That's quite a bit of beer each day.
I have 4 gallons of beer.
4 gallons
Unless
of
we want
beer.
wine, then it's 1 gallon of wine. but I'll
I mean, it
Oh.
sounds like you guys are kind of a party wagon
Oh,
as
yeah.
you travel north.
Yeah.
So that's great.
Yes.
Um,
As long as it doesn't have a pole in the middle.
Torin takes his job as, wagon driver very seriously. So when he's driving the wagon, he doesn't partake. But when he's in the back of the wagon, he is drinking flagon after flagon of that beer and just having a grand old time. Malt as well partakes a little bit. Doesn't need too much, though, before he is burping and kind of just rolls over to take a nap most times.
One other thing I wanted to do when we sleep at night is I wanted to cast the alarm spell around the wagon.
Mhm.
It's a 20-foot cube area, so I figure I can cover pretty much the whole
Yeah.
wagon.
Mhm.
And I'll cast that each night and have it just be like actually, I'll make it like an alarm. I'll actually make it like a audible instead of just a mental.
Okay. There's maybe like one occasion where an animal or something like that, like a small animal trips it. But other than that, the alarm goes untriggered. Your days for the next, we'll say 2 or 3 days are pretty uneventful. And then eventually something happens again. So can someone
Well,
roll
there was
another?
before that, I think one of the nights when we are sitting around the campfire, having some ale, I pass out my good berries. I think if it's a pretty lighthearted mood, Elwyn will kind of pass out the berries and she'll sit down and she'll say, well, I'm not really sure how to bring this up, so I'm just gonna say it. And she kind of looks over at Rook. She looks at the rest of the group and she says, Rook and I have something we've been meaning to talk to y'all about. It's, we meant to bring this up a little bit sooner, but with things happening the way anyway. You guys know we kind of were spending a bit of time together before we left Port Horizon Shroud, and well, one thing led to another, and we are she kind of looks at Rook again for help at this point.
We're a
Ember's
couple.
Ember's eyes just wide.
Yeah, we're a couple now.
What? Well, that's great. Congratulations, the two of you. So cute.
Wow.
Unexpected, but so cute.
Did you see that coming, Embers?
No, but it does explain some things. In hindsight.
Oh no.
Look, we don't have to make it a huge thing, but we just didn't want y'all to feel a little bit awkward, or we didn't want you to think we were trying to sneak around or anything, because that's not really what we're doing. But yeah. Anyway, let's have some more of that beer, huh?
Yes.
Well,
Pass
I,
it
for
up
one,
here.
hadn't noticed a single thing, but I propose a toast to Rook and Elwyn, Torin says,
Oh, stop.
already definitely deep in his cups. He holds up a flagon.
Yeah.
Is it
Yeah,
Elwood?
I'll toast to that. That sounds a little bit silly, Tuppence. How about a song?
Give me tonight. I'll compose one. I'll sing it
Oh.
for you later.
Oh, great. That's not really what I meant, but okay.
Yeah, don't you have any
Torin bursts
general
into a campfire
love
song.
songs?
Oh, sure. I was going to. You know what? I have something to celebrate. Come here, Elwyn.
Oh dear. All right. What are we doing?
As she comes closer, Tuppy will fly above her, reach into a little pouch, and sprinkle some iridescent, glittery substance on top of you.
Oh boy.
And Elwyn, you begin to float,
Oh.
levitate up off the ground just a couple inches. And as you kind of lean in surprise, you feel that you can actually move through the air as you will.
Is that how it feels? Is that how it feels?
I reckon it does. Thank you. I can
I'll have
fly, I
some.
can fly, I can fly.
Yeah, I was waiting for
I
that.
do believe in fairies.
I do.
Yeah. Does Elwyn like fly up and take a loop, or does she stay pretty close to the ground and just kind of levitate?
I know she'll fly up or like above the tree line a little bit
Okay,
with
so
the stars.
I'll go around with her.
Yeah, is
Both of you
great.
make a perception check while you're up there.
sure.
I'll have some more of that beer, Rook.
Sure. Kind of like looking up at them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
Torin
think,
is
I think we both are.
Yeah, we're both kind of
Torin
like.
is slack jawed, looking up as well.
Yeah.
A 17.
Well,
12. um, it's actually a pretty clear starry night where you are, but looking out over the trees northward, you can see not really that far in the distance. It looks like the weather is a bit stormier and cloudier. Elwyn, especially you, who is, kind of tuned to this sort of thing in nature, they look like big snow clouds.
Oh boy.
You're probably going to be heading into snowy weather before too long.
Are there any towns on our path that we could like take shelter in if we needed to during the storm?
You probably just left one or two behind you, and there might be a couple ahead. You're unsure.
Okay.
From where you are, you don't really see any, but you do see, those big clouds in the distance.
Great. Well, that's going to be fun. This is great, Tuppence. Thank you.
so Tuppence will fly back down and land on Rick's shoulder, pat him and say, "Congratulations, she's a great gal."
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I mean, I'll fly back down with Tuppence too and land very carefully.
I like the image of you and Tuppence kind of spiraling around each other as
Yeah.
you drift downward.
Joy, it's a
gracefully.
joyride.
Mhm.
Me
Right,
with my
like-
iridescence and you with your little snow flurry.
Mm-hmm.
Fun.
Brownies and snowflakes.
The episode title.
We'll see. Yeah, and then with that, it's another restful night passed, and you begin to, make your way back onto the road. Like I said, the next day, as you head north, things start to get chillier, to the point where it's a little bit unnatural for this time in the spring. And a gentle snowfall begins to come down, and you can see, looking ahead, that it looks like the snowfall is only going to get heavier and heavier. But for now, it's manageable. Let's have another roll of 2d4. And again, designate which one's the first one. Looks like Kay's got it.
Okay, I just had to find 2d4 in my massive pile of dice. Okay, the first one's a 3 again.
Okay.
The second one is a 3 again.
Well, you're going to have to re-roll that one.
What is good with our dice tonight?
I don't
This'll's
know.
not going to mess with you again. Not just yet.
Okay, 1 for the second one.
Oh my gosh, are you serious?
Yes.
Oh,
Okay, this is perfect.
Oh,
Oh, man.
no.
The next day, as you are heading north, like I said, it's starting to get snowier and snowier. And Elwyn, everyone else is starting to feel the cold a little bit. You're kind of having to bundle up in blankets and warmer clothes and things like that. But for you, Elwyn, it feels excellent. It feels like, home and welcoming to you. And somewhere about, as it's getting on towards evening, the sun has gone down a lot of, most of the way. The stars are starting to come out, or at least they would if, you could see them beyond the snow clouds. You can see the moon occasionally peeking through patches in the clouds. The snow is starting to get heavier and heavier, but again, that just makes you feel more at home and more alive. And it's at that time that you begin to feel a tug on your spirit. Something is pulling you. You feel a longing well up to depart from the road just up ahead and head into the woods.
How strong is this longing?
The closer you get, the further you go up the road and closer to where you feel this tug coming from, the stronger it gets. And you hear a voice whisper in your ear that you recognize as the matronly voice of the masked lady. Go with it, Elwyn. Follow it.
Okay. I will. Am I at this point driving the wagon, or am I inside the wagon? What's
Oh, it's up
going
to
on?
you.
Where is everybody? I think I'll probably just.
It's evening, so it might be likely that it'd be you or Rook or both of you up front.
Yeah, I mean, that's up to Zach if Rook's with me or not. But I would.
He's probably shivering up a storm, and he hates the cold.
Sharing my cloak.
He's looking for any means to get warm. He's probably a snowman.
I will just say to Rook then, I think I need to go and check something out over there. Can we pull over for a few minutes?
I don't see why not. I can't follow you as a cat though, so it's up to you, I think.
Well, I can send my owl back if I run into some trouble, I reckon. But I
guess you could
need to
leave
go
it
and-
here though, couldn't you?
You hear the voice of the masked lady again, right by your ear, as if she were sitting right next to you. He can come if he wants.
Do you want to come with me?
Sure.
So I'll poke my head in the wagon and say, we'll be right back. We think we see something in the woods. You all stay here with the wagon.
Oh, okay.
You're muted.
As soon as
Melissa.
they dart off, Torin turns to the group of you and says, well, we all know what this is about, right?
Yep.
Oh my
Seems-
god.
Seems kind of cold outside for that.
I'll just start running off into the woods, following the pull.
Torin, having cold resistance, says, what, is it cold? Seems fine to me. So Elwyn, you kind of tug Rook off of the seat of the wagon and begin heading in the direction that you feel this calling. And you have to navigate through kind of dense woods, over logs from fallen trees, and the snow itself has accumulated a foot or so at this point as well. So it's a bit of a trudge, particularly for Rook, who's not really used to the snow. But with Elwyn's help, you kind of navigate through the woods until the wagon is no longer in sight. You go maybe 15, 20 minutes, feeling the call getting stronger and stronger, until eventually you come into a clearing, and you can see that there is something in the center of this clearing that is just choked with dead and frozen vines. It looks like an object or a structure of some kind. And in that moment, as you're kind of taking in the clearing with the snow falling down on the two of you, both of you hear a voice from behind. Hello, Vertinor.
So yeah, I think his head just like whips back, like, who is that type of thing.
And you see, I don't know, Elwyn, have you described the masked lady to Rook at all?
I don't know if I've given a physical description of her. But...
You see this tall woman with sort of this like hand and a half sword at her waist, a snowflake adorned mask on her face, dark kind of, purplish skin, and like radiant golden eyes, flowing long hair, and sort of slender, elegant physique, looking at you. And she says,
I will just grab Rook's hand immediately when I turn around and see her.
Does Nihedon react at all to this?
You can feel a stirring of uneasiness,
Oh shoot. Okay.
but no audible reaction.
Okay.
And I'll just say, hi, I didn't, it's been a minute.
It has. You've
Bert,
been
this
busy,
is the
but
masked lady. This is who I was telling you about.
I
Okay.
thought with, Elwyn telling you about me, and I guess the group of you are now known to or the two of you are now known to your friends. I thought it seemed a good moment to reveal myself to you.
Ellen's just beaming. She's just like big smile, like really happy to see her right now.
Yeah, and the masked lady kind of steps closer, and you can see that she is kind of looking you up and down, Rook.
Yeah, and I think Nihedon's uneasiness still has him also kind of unsteady. Not really sure what to make of this entity, but like he's like
Well,
kind of like struggling a little bit. He's like, what do I do
there's
here?
no need to feel uneasy. I appreciate the way that you and Elwyn have been supporting each other. I'm not always able to physically be there for Elwyn and help her as much as I might like to. And part of that is intentional so that she'll grow and learn. But knowing that she has someone there to, help care for her and support her in the moments when I'm not around is a comfort to me.
Well, if you wanted to meet him, you could have told me. And then it wouldn't have had to be a big surprise like this. But
Oh, that's not why I brought you here. Just an added bonus. And she gestures towards the thing in the center of the clearing, this vine-choked structure. I wanted you to see that.
I look.
I'll also look.
Make a perception check.
Sure.
Okay. I'm gonna use a different dice because this one's cheating.
No, don't. No, don't.
I mean, if it rolls another 20, I'm gonna re-roll it. Okay, that was a real one. Let's see. I got
Damn it.
a 13.
I got a 10.
Both of you can make out that what is under there seems to be some kind of statue, probably of a person or two persons. It's kind of hard to tell without removing the vines what it actually looks like.
Hmm.
Can I get closer and kind of brush it away or something?
Yeah, you want to go and kind of pull at the vines a little bit?
Is it safe to go in there? I ask.
She nods and kind of takes a step back.
Yeah, I'll do
All
that.
right. Yeah, I'll go in.
I figured
as
it'd be
well.
safe if she brought us here to show us this thing, so I'm just like, oh.
Yeah. You never know.
Okay, so do the two of you kind of break off the vines? They're
Well, is
cold and
there-
frozen.
So I was looking at shape water, and I can freeze water with shape water, but can I unfreeze it?
Sure.
So I feel like I would want to maybe use a combination of like shape water and druidcraft to kind of
Sort of like unfreeze them and then use
And then
druidcraft to pull them back off.
to pull them back and manipulate them a little bit away.
Yeah, so you slowly kind of walk around the statue little bit by little bit, unfreezing it and pulling the vines back off of it.
Yeah.
And it reveals it is in fact a pair of statues that are kind of posed together. One of them depicts a kind of slender but powerfully poised elven woman, and the other one depicts a very handsome and muscular elven man locked in a dance. The man has his arm extended at the moment so that the woman can lean back, sort of throwing her arm and head out behind her. And as you sort of clear off the base of the statue, you see that there's an inscription there. And as you look at it, it is written in Undercommon, which I think both of you speak, right?
Yeah.
So as you read it, it says, "A promise unfulfilled, their dance left undone, moonlight on the winter's snow, two hearts beat as one." And a patch of moonlight shines through the clouds above down onto the statue to allow you to read that.
Can you read that one more time, please?
A promise unfulfilled, their dance left undone, moonlight on the winter's snow, two hearts beat as one.
Do I recognize and either of these as any kind of important figures from any of my studies or?
Roll a history check.
Okay. I don't trust any of my dice.
I
I
don't-
rolled a 4 like 3
Can
times
I
tonight.
also roll? I don't know if I would, but if I would know.
You could roll maybe at disadvantage on this one.
Okay. But I also, at that point, probably couldn't help Elwyn either.
Okay, 19.
Oh, well,
19.
maybe I don't need to.
Not too bad.
I didn't even, nope. Go ahead.
Okay. The man is completely unfamiliar to you. The woman, I mean, both of them are old statues, so they show wear and tear. There's signs of weathering and things like that. But as you look closely at the woman, it could be the masked lady. Very similar sort of build and physique. Yeah.
Also, instead of reading the placard, I was just looking at the statues the whole time.
If I look over my shoulder, is she still there? Did she leave?
She is gone, but you still feel a tug at your heart
Toward the
as
statues?
you look at, well, not really in a direction, just as if something is expected of you, something is wanted from you in this moment.
I look at Rook. Do you want to dance?
Kind of like cocks his head. What? It's freezing out here.
I don't know. I feel like there's something that we need to do, and well, there's I kind of gesture at the inscription without really
And then,
saying anything else.
so he plays along and just like offers a hand. Like, all right.
I'm gonna step on your feet.
Wouldn't be the first time.
There a patch of moonlight on the snow somewhere where we can.
This whole clearing is lit by moonlight at the moment.
Yeah.
It's as if the clouds above have stopped in a perfect hole so that the moon can shine down on this
Do I
clearing.
recognize the like pose that the statues are in? Like, if I know what kind of dance they'd be doing, or
I don't think not necessarily. It's not any particular dance. It looks like maybe they were dancing something. Well, whatever they're dancing, it's like a very intimate and close dance where like the partnership between these two is very important, because you can see as she's leaning back, she is completely trusting him to, not let her fall.
right.
And, in the same vein, like he is relying on her to give him the signal to pull her back up and things like that. Like whatever their dance they're doing, it requires cooperation between the two.
Well, let's give it a go. What could it hurt?
Just my feet. And yeah,
Okay.
I guess they'll. Is it also? Do we want to do that and point at the statue? Is this
Yeah,
Is this-
yeah, sure.
okay?
I trust you, sure.
It's so strong. Okay, yeah. Let's,
So strong that you lost to a pixie.
shh, that's.
How does the dance play out
No,
as the
no.
two of you sort of begin?
I mean,
yeah.
not the first time they've danced.
So he draws her
together.
closer. Does she let him? I think is what you're suggesting.
Now that's a reference.
Okay.
Good one.
Yeah, I
Nice.
don't
Like
know.
that from
That's
Jack.
the long game right there.
Yeah.
I don't know how to answer the question. I mean,
So I guess my question is like, does it start out kind of clumsily and sort of get
okay.
more in tandem together, or are you pretty in tandem from the start?
It's yeah, I would say it's pretty hard at the start because there's like no music or anything, and I don't like it. Rook's freezing, and he's like needs a little time to warm up and then actually figure out like what kind of dance they want to do and stuff like. So maybe they're like laughing at each other a little bit and like chatting and like, what should we do this? Should we do that? Like, should we just do this
Yeah,
waltz
Elvin's
thing?
a little bit preoccupied trying to figure out what exactly it is
But
that's
then-
wanted from her too. So
Yeah, but then I think like after maybe a minute or two,
yeah.
then they start like getting in step.
Mhm.
Yeah, after that sort of minute or two of kind of awkwardly and
I think
laughing together.
Ellen might like cast minor illusion to create the sound of like a music box or something, so they have music to dance to.
Yeah, that definitely helps. And sort of by that point, you've kind of gotten a little bit of the awkwardness out of the way. And Rook, even just starting to move together with Elwyn, you can feel your body warming up from the
Right.
exercise and just from the proximity of the two of you. And as you begin to get more into time with this tinkering music box sound, the snow around your feet, like I mentioned, it was about a foot piled up, begins to swirl and flurry out of your way, allowing your feet free space to dance without being obstructed. And it kind of just swirls around you. And as the two of you continue to dance, you see that the moonlight begins to, instead of illuminating the full clearing, begins to narrowly form or concentrate on the statue's, the woman's outstretched hand. And this beam of light begins to form in there. And the more that your dance crescendos and the two of you begin to sort of step in time, the more that beam of light begins to concentrate and become stronger and stronger until the sound of the music box, begins to wind down to the end of the song, and you go to sort of strike that final pose where Elwyn is leaning back and Rook is holding her. Can both of you make either performance checks or athletics checks or acrobatics checks? Any one of those would do.
Definitely performance.
Yeah, performance.
1000% performance.
no.
I got an 18.
Oh, good. I rolled a fucking 4 again. Are you fucking kidding me? The 7.
7. Elwyn, as you go to lean back, your foot slips a little bit and you feel yourself falling backward, but Rook's arm, quick, is there to catch you. And for a second, it feels as if he might buckle and fall on top of you, but he holds firm, and the two of you strike the same pose as the statue, as that beam of moonlight finally coalesces and then goes dim, and snow begins to fall on the clearing again. And what you see as you sort of hold that pose is that the woman in the statue is now holding, she's holding something. Let me find a description of what she's holding real quick. Let's see. Here we go. She's holding a staff made from a delicate branch of white birch that is carved with intricate patterns of snowflakes. At the top, it splits into 3 smaller branches, which curve around a large shard of light blue fairy crystal, which glows gently like moonlight on fresh snow. And you hear a voice in your head, Elwyn, saying, "Take it, it's yours."
I think, yeah, Ellen's pretty emotional at this, but she'll take it. And there's just too many questions, too many implications.
With that, the clearing is still as you kind of delicately remove this staff from the statue's hand. Everything is quiet.
That looks like your comb.
A bit more intricate than my brush, sure.
A brush.
should-
Yeah.
Probably head back, or the others are going to think we stopped for another purpose.
We went to the bathroom and then saw a statue.
Together?
Someone gets scared. It's scary out here. Rook's
Thanks
getting a little
for-
squeamish.
Thanks for indulging me.
Anytime.
Come on, let's
All right.
get you back and warmed up.
Yes, please. Yeah, they'll trot back together.
Two of you find your way back, and the wagon, I assume, is still sitting there with the group inside.
They
kind
didn't
of
leave us behind.
Thank God.
No, Embers is very relieved to see the two of you again.
Yeah.
Torin just kind of looks at the two of you with a wink and says, "Have a good time."
In this
Well-
cold? Are you kidding me?
They look like
Icicles?
well, some sort of physical activity occurred.
And they look a little flushed.
We had a dance.
And Elwyn is holding a new staff.
Mm-hmm.
Where did that come from?
Well, let's get up into the wagon and I'll tell you the whole story.
All right.
Yeah, so we climb into the wagon and I will tell them all about the masked lady and about how she called to me and we followed her voice out there. And
This is the first time that Tuppence and Embers have heard of the masked lady, correct?
Wow, it
Yeah.
sounds just like a fairy tale. And I should know.
yeah, well,
How
I reckon it
romantic.
does. I never thought about it that way, but I guess you're right.
Can I be honest with the rest of you for a moment?
Of
Of course.
This is all very frightening to me. I don't like that there are voices calling us into the wilderness, even if they turn out to be benevolent. I don't like that we're having strange dreams about mirror versions of ourselves. I don't know how to deal with any of this. There's nothing here I can punch.
Well, if it
Devin
makes you feel
says-
better, I wouldn't have gone if I didn't recognize the voice, Embers.
Tuppence is shoving Torin at you.
I was just gonna do the same thing.
Something to
Yeah,
punch.
so like Rook is like right here, Embers.
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm with Embers. I don't know how to punch any of these things. So
Well, I mean, I reckon you could have punched the statue if you had to. I don't think that would have helped.
true.
but- No, I think, I am just as nervous about this whole situation with Tuppence and her dream as y'all are, but you don't have to worry about the masked lady, at least. She has always had my best interests at heart, and she is only trying to help me.
No, but that when we started this journey, I thought that maybe we would be facing things like bandits or wild animals, but instead there's been a lot of magic, and the rest of you are much more comfortable with this than I am.
Oh, but what do you call that thing that you do with your hands, the channeling the power of the sun or something like that?
Okay,
Yeah, that's kind of magic.
not really, anybody can do it.
Well, I can't.
Well, you could if you practiced, but I could never do what you do.
You could if you practiced and if you made nice with a friendly goddess like I did.
Mm.
And we're forgetting the speedy fairy. That wasn't magic. He made
That's
a point
true.
of that.
He was very angry about us for using magic. So
I think we
you
could have
punch him.
punched him if we
you
tried.
could absolutely punch him the next time you see him. I might punch him too.
Fast though.
You're faster.
No, I've raced that fairy. I'm not faster.
You could be.
Anyway,
Tuppence will land on Ember's shoulder and start braiding her hair, trying to calm her.
Look, I think that maybe we've just had an off couple of days, and maybe once we get going a little bit more, get out of the snowstorm, everything will settle down and we'll be fighting bandits or whatever, punching things.
I could probably build some bandits for you if you want to punch those.
Yeah.
you might all be misunderstanding what I'm saying here, but thank you for
No,
trying.
I know. I'm kidding.
The journey goes on, and you eventually come to a place where you can take rest for the night. And the next day, it's probably your seventh or eighth journey, or seventh or eighth day of the journey. We'll say eighth day. You begin to continue north, and the snow just begins to get worse and worse, and the cold as well gets deeper and deeper, to the point where it begins, piercing into your every bit of exposed skin, and you're forced by necessity to bundle up as much as you can, until eventually it turns into a full-on blizzard. And you find yourselves looking at a map of, the surrounding area and what's nearby. But for the next many, many, many miles in either direction at this point, there's only a single dot on the map signifying a town, and it's slightly off the road. You'd have to take a fork coming up. It's not labeled on the map that you have, but when you get to the fork itself, there is a signpost. One says north to Fimir, the capital of Sergil, and the other, which is pointing towards that dot on your map, says northwest to Twin Towns. And you know that this blizzard is getting fierce enough that unless you had packed, specific supplies to, survive in a blizzard, you're going to be frozen out before too long. Even Torin is beginning to feel cold.
I guess we're making a little detour.
I don't think we have a choice.
I mean, Twin Towns, that sounds quaint, lovely. Could be a blessing in disguise.
Warm?
Whatever you say.
Warm.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Yes, agreed. I don't like
Roof over
this
our head and a
cold.
fire.
Fire.
Malt
Yeah.
is like buried under 6 blankets, and you can just see his face poke out, and he says, "Yes, please."
Northwest it is.
And so you divert the wagon off the road, or off the main road and down the side road towards this Twin Towns, and you can just see, after a little bit of traveling, the snow getting worse and worse the entire way, you can just see up on a hill a solitary building with warm lights going in the windows. As you get closer, you can see that it seems to be a tavern of sorts on a hill, overlooking a diverging road that goes 2 different directions. At the place where the road diverges, you can see there's a signpost pointing towards this tavern on the hill, one pointing towards more towards the west, one more towards the east. You can see that the one pointing towards the tavern says the Broken Axe, The one pointing towards the east says Rhymestrand, and the one pointing towards the west says Glimmercairn. And the warmth of the light within the tavern beckons, and that's where we'll pick up next week.
Oh boy.
Yay.
When we will
Tavern
be
it
joined
is.
by a guest character.
Ooh,
Oh
yeah.
boy.
Yeah,
So excited.
Zach's brother Will is going to come on and play with us for a little bit.
That's
So
right.
I'm so excited.
Yeah.
we are
It's been a
going to
long
do-
time
Yeah.
since we had a guest.
it has. It's been forever. We're going to do a little mini arc here in Twin Towns. So
Oh boy.
Oh, sweet.
Oh,
Yeah.
good session.
where
Good session.
surely there will be things like bandits to punch.
There we go.
So yes, thank you everyone who joined. Thank you obviously to you players for playing with me. I'm still coughing because we had our long hiatus because everyone was sick. But anyways, we'll be back with more of this Monday, 7 p.m. Pacific time. So hope to see you then. Have a good night. Bye.
Good night.
Night.